be really careful because this box can cause cancer and reproductive harm. So if you're fabricating stuff in California, careful with your cardboard. What's up, everyone? So as you saw from the thumbnail, we are finally getting around to building the intake for the Mini. So I've got all the builder parts that I need. I've got, a couple elbows. So what we'll be doing is going from a 3-inch. I bought a K&N, the Extreme, with the filter on the end as well, with a 3-inch opening here. The reason I went to 3-inch was because if I went to the 2.5 or anything like that, the filters were all weird and I didn't like them. They looked strange. They were small, either really short or whatever. Ended up with a weird selection. So I went with the 3-inch because I could get what I really wanted. So I've got a elbow reducer going from 3-inch to 2.5-inch. And in the 2.5-inch side, that's where I'm going to be putting the mass airflow sensor because we have to retain that. And then the other side of the mass airflow sensor, we've got another little coupler just to connect. That's another 2.5 coupler there. And that will go to a 2.5-inch aluminum tube, which this is obviously going to be cut down quite a lot. So there'll be a lot left over, which this is aluminum. This is going to be my first time welding aluminum. I have got a spool gun and 100% argon gas, which in some of the videos you guys may have seen sitting over in the corner for a little while. But we're ready to do it now. So I've got all the parts I need. The last elbow going from a 2.5-inch to 1.75 for that tiny little inducer on the turbo. It's just a little guy. But this will give me kind of what I've wanted with the dimensions of everything. And it will give me hopefully a lot more flow, which I know it'll give me a lot of turbo noises and stuff that I really like. I enjoy all those noises, so it'll give me all of those. Don't know if it'll gain much power, if any. That's not really what I'm doing it for. It will gain power in the future in conjunction with other modifications, but for now, it gives me cool turbo noises, which for me, that's worthwhile. It's got a very basic start here for it. I know that there is some hoses and stuff that go through this area, so it can't just be a squared off edge here. So I've got that all taped in. So I know that this is much higher on this side than I want it to be. There's a few obvious changes that will be made, but I want to get it to this point. I'm going to try it in again and see what the next modifications that are. See what the next modifications are that I need to make. Fit it up again. I like how it's sitting. Nice clearance around everything. Pulled off the part or the end of the fresh air intake because I need to figure out where to sit it on here. It's going to sit roughly there. So with this off, I can actually see how much of a ramp downward I have to take in there. Got that angled part. I don't know what to call it. We got where it dips down. We got that all made. There is part of the intake that's in the way right now. Just one of the tabs from the original mount for the air box. The intake manifold has these tabs on it that I will probably have to cut one of those tabs off, but should be really good when that tab's out of the way, because that tab sits about there right now. But when that's out of the way, should be really good. Now that I've got that intake box kind of all mapped out with the cardboard, I want to start actually routing the tubing back to it so that I can get everything all set in place, and I can use the cardboard to actually mock it up and get all the placement correct before I go building it out of aluminum and then find out that placement's weird and I need to make holes in different places or do something weird. So I'll get the routing done first, then we'll worry about actually making it. Should be the middle. At least I have a straight line to tape off of. Looks pretty good. And kind of like the angle. I'll fit it up against the car, see kind of how it looks. If I like it, I guess we'll try welding some aluminum. Might be kind of hard to see from there, but I like the way it sits. I will have to make the straight piece shorter, obviously, because it was about the size I needed, but now it's like 4 inches longer. So I can get these cleaned up. So we can try welding some aluminum together. See how we like it. I'm excited and nervous because I don't want the welds to look like crap. But got to learn how to weld aluminum. So I actually put the Mini all back together, and I went and competed in an autocross day and ended up actually blowing out a shot or a strut. So got to fix that now. But we're back at the intake. It's been probably a week, but I already have this section all made. So we've got the breather all welded in there, and we got everything all ready to go with this. So I'm going to start mocking back up in the vehicle so that we can get all of the new pieces put in place, and then we can start on the actual airbox. Something else that I did to kind of prep everything for this was with the mass airflow meter. So it normally has these ears on each side of it because it normally actually bolts onto the factory airbox. But since I'm not using any of that anymore, I didn't need to retain any of that functionality. So I just cut them off, smoothed it out. So now that it's just got a small ridge, about the same height as the ridge back here, where the silicone will actually butt up against. So I think it'll make it a lot cleaner look. And since I'm not going to use those tabs anyway, just cut them off. So as you can see, we've got that reducer there going from the 2.5 inch into the turbo. The breather I'm actually going to run underneath with a hose and come up this side, but I actually think I'm going to shorten this up. I kind of need to shorten all of it up, which I'll show you guys in a second anyway. But I think I'm going to shorten some of it here, probably about an inch or so out of here, which will actually centralize this port in here as well. And then I might take some off of this end also, but I think I'll wait till I see where it puts us with this. Reason I need to shorten it up, and oh, there it is. Reason I need to shorten it up is when this slides on there, so obviously it'll sit back about here, that's going to be back really far. I need it to sit about there based on where the hole is in that box. So right now I think before I do any of that, I'll shorten that piece up here, and I will need to chop these tabs off. You guys remember earlier in the video I said that this section here where it dips down is actually going to contact some of these tabs. Well, this is the tab I was talking about. I don't think this one will be an issue, but I'll see after I chop this one off. So I'm going to chop this one off right now, get the box back in here and see where we sit. I did a little bit of cutting on, well, this silicone hose. I took a little bit off of the aluminum hose as well, or aluminum tube. So I got it sitting basically where I want it. I might need to put the hole in the box slightly lower, just so I've got a little more clearance underneath the strut brace. But overall, not sitting too bad. Sitting basically where I want it, just a few small tweaks to get it sitting a little nicer. So I will probably mess around with that box a little bit, see if I can get it sitting where I want in there, and then we can start actually making that box. So based on where the tube comes into this hole, where the filter sits, well, the filter sits in here, I actually can't lower that hole any. That is basically as low as I can go with it. So I think I might do something different with the tube. So right now I've got that, I guess the half of a 45-degree angle, because I chopped it in half and changed it. I might not do the bend in it. I might do a straight piece instead, but I'll cut the tape, start getting it flat so that I can transfer it over to aluminum, and we'll go from there. So I got everything on the cardboard transferred over to aluminum. Had to split it between two sheets just because this piece was too large for the space that I had on this one. After I got it all transferred over, I went over everything with my square, and I was able to square everything up, make sure that everything measured the same heights so that everything was going to be perfect. Because obviously with the cardboard, nothing is quite perfect. So made sure that my measurements were all good and everything's going to match up really nicely in the aluminum and be nice and square. So now that we got all that done, I can start cutting all these pieces out and we can start fitting them together. We have an air box. So it's all welded together, and I smoothed out all the welds because I'm still not great at aluminum welding, but it's okay. I was able to smooth them out. Looks really nice, and it's nice and solid still. I will be drilling 2 holes somewhere around here, and same on that side. And I'll be actually welding tabs to the strut brace so that I can hard mount the box to the strut brace. So I will get that all mocked up so that I can get that part done, and we will see how it actually looks in the Mini. I did do a different tube. I was talking to you guys about doing a different tube. I actually changed to a straight tube instead of that slight bend, and I actually really like how it sits now. It sits nicer than it did with that slight bend on it. So now that I've got all of that all in place and all ready to go, we need to start making the tabs to actually mount it to the strut brace. So I'll grab some steel and start making little brackets out of this template. So. fitting up really nicely. You can see the modifications I need to make here. So this little cutout was because it was getting really close to the tube, but now that we are chopping all of this excess off, it won't matter anymore, but I want to take all that extra off and round out the edges. And same on this one, just take out the extra down there, round out those edges, then we'll be ready to weld them on. All right, I want to take you guys up in the engine bay, let you guys see what we've got. So obviously there's no air filter on there, you guys can see that. But I'm actually not going to put it on right now, and I'll tell you why here in just a minute. But we've got tabs welded on. You can see there is bolts through there. Those bolts are not tight yet because this is all coming back off for paint, obviously. You can see the straight tube there. You can see that there isn't a vent hose there, or vent tube, to the crankcase breather, which now you can see there's actually an aluminum barbed fitting there instead of the hose. I have to pull this all back out to paint it. So that's all gonna be coming back out in the next video, or the next two videos maybe. Air box, the tube, the front strut brace, and that rear strut brace. I'll be painting all of those, which I can't wait to see the finished product of what everything looks like, because it looks great as is, but when it's actually painted and finished, that'll be awesome. So the reason for that aluminum barbed fitting and not having a breather hose on there right now, some of you may already know that there is a heater that goes in the factory tube that's between here and the factory elbow. And in the next, probably the next video, we'll be eliminating that heater. We will be running a crankcase breather, but going to be adding a catch can. Hopefully you guys follow along, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you guys do want to see the next time the video comes out, because the next couple videos will be all mini content. We'll be moving on to other projects after that. I've got a lot of parts sitting around for the truck. You guys have probably seen the big mud terrains sitting in the corner over there. Those are obviously for the Jeep. Well, not obviously, but those are for the Jeep. So there's a lot of content coming up in the very near future with all of the projects. There will be some more motorcycle things coming, but that may take a minute before I get back around to that. But like I said, keep an eye out for more mini content coming. You guys will see the finished intake when it's painted, and with the catch can in there as well. So there is a lot more to do, even though it's basically finished.